Oh, this is a test. You're going to be very bored if you sit here and watch for the next however many minutes. 10 minutes. All I'm doing is seeing if I can get this posted to YouTube. So I'm going to sit here for 10 minutes. Maybe I'm not going to sit here for 10 minutes. Maybe. Maybe I'll read something. Sure, Ann Coulter wouldn't mind me reading her book. Demonic. Let's see. You know what? I'll just start right at the beginning. Where she starts from the book of Mark in the Bible. The Bible. Run, liberals, run. When Jesus, scary name, got out of the boat, a man with an impure spirit came from the tombs to meet him. This man lived in the tombs, and no one could bind him anymore, not even with a chain. For he had often been chained hand and foot, but he tore the chains apart and broke the irons on his feet. No one was strong enough to subdue him. Night and day among the tombs and in the hills he would cry out and cut himself with stones. When he saw Jesus from a distance, he ran and fell on his knees in front of him. He shouted at the top of his voice, "What do you want with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? In God's name, don't torture me." For Jesus had said to him, "Come out of this man, you impure spirit." Then Jesus asked him, "What is your name?" "My name is Legion," he replied, "for we are many." Mark 5, verses 2 to 9. My name is Legion. I think I heard that somewhere recently. The demon is a mob, and the mob is demonic. It is the nihilistic mob of the French Revolution. It is the revolutionaries who seized control of Russia at the beginning of the 20th century. It is the Maoist gangs looting villages and impaling babies in China. It is the Ku Klux Klan terrorizing Republicans and blacks in the South. It is the 1992 Los Angeles riot that left 50 dead and did $1 billion of damage after the first Rodney King verdict. Which, by the way, I'd like to just pause for a second there, and I have to address the collective gasp I could hear from the left, who might be watching me, and the fact that they would be like, see, what I gather from the left a lot is things like the Rodney King verdict and the subsequent outrage. They think that they are the owners of that automatically they are so sanctimonious and self-righteous oftentimes that there's, oh, who is Ann Coulter to talk about the Rodney King verdict? As if, the, well, basically, whenever it seems, even though the original Ku Klux Klan was made up of Democrats, and I just watched the brilliant American Experience documentary on the Freedom Riders, and it showed you the governors of the southern states that tried to make it very difficult, and well, did make it very difficult for those Freedom Riders. I noticed PBS being PBS really kept quiet on the fact that those governors, those racist governors, were Democrats, and really downplayed the fact that the Ku Klux Klan were Democrats, and that the people helping the white people that were helping the Freedom Riders out were conservative Republicans. But and it occurred to me that is probably more than likely why we don't hear that story. That was really the first time I had ever heard such a great retelling of the civil rights movement. And if the tables, if it were reversed, and it was Republican governors, you would be hearing about it all the time. But of course, the media is very liberal, so naturally, they don't want your attention drawn to that. Let's see. It is the bloody riots at the 1968 Democratic National Convention. It is the masked hoodlums smashing up Seattle when bankers came to town. It is the 500,000 illegal, that's right, illegal as in against the law, not undocumented, okay? Illegal means illegal. It's a very specific word, meaning a very specific thing. It's not the same as undocumented. Illegal means that someone's breaking the law. So, when I say illegal aliens, okay, where was I? The 500,000 illegal aliens marching under a foreign flag in Los Angeles. Okay? That means the people that she's referring to, the 500,000 illegal aliens marching under a foreign flag in Los Angeles, that means 500,000 people who are in the United States illegally. It doesn't mean that they're merely undocumented. It's a very specific adjective to describe the kind of alien that they are. They're here illegally. That's a very uncomfortable thing for leftists and liberals to face. That, and I've seen the sign so many times. There are no illegal aliens. That's funny, because I could have sworn that we had a legal system and laws. And if you broke those laws as an alien, you're illegal. But see, this is so often what I find from the left. They try to change the definition of is. I mean, I hate to use such a cliche, but and I'm gonna go even further. With you can put maple syrup on turds and call it pancakes all you want. Still a pile of turds. And you can call an illegal immigrant an undocumented worker, but he's still an illegal immigrant. Oh, this is becoming very easy to take up 10 minutes. It is the throngs of Islamic fanatics attending the Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini's funeral, tearing his body out of its coffin. It is left-wing protesters destroying property and attacking delegates at the Republican National Conventions. Everything else changes, but mobs are always the same. A mob is an irrational, childlike, often violent organism. I believe she wrote this book before Occupy. That derives its energy from this group. Intoxicated by messianic goals, the promise of instant gratification, and adrenaline-pumping exhortations, mobs create mayhem, chaos, and destruction, leaving a smoldering heap of wreckage for their leaders to climb to power. The Democratic Party is the party of the mob, irrespective of what the mob represents. Wow. Irrespective of what the mob represents, no doubt. Democrats activate mobs, depend on mobs, coddle mobs, publicize and celebrate mobs because they are the mob. Indeed, the very idea of a community organizer is to stir up a mob for some political purpose, as so frequently happens when a crowd goes wild. Historian Eric Derschmeid says, there is always one who shouts louder and thereby appoints himself as the leader. Somebody told me recently, in the absence of real leadership, people listen to the loudest voice. Those are the people we call elected Democrats. The Democrats' playbook doesn't involve heads on pikes, as yet, but uses a more insidious means to incite the mobs. The twisting of truth, stirring of passions, demonizing of opponents, and relying on propagandistic images in lieu of ideas. These are the earmarks of a mob leader. Over and over again, one finds the Democrats manipulating the mob to gain power. It is official Democratic policy to appeal to the least informed, weakest-minded members of the public. Their base consists of soccer moms, actresses, felons, MSNBC viewers, aging red diaper babies, welfare recipients, heads-up-their-asses billionaires, and government workers who can never be laid off. The entire party gave up on attracting the votes of white men decades ago. It is easier to round up votes by frightening women about assault weapons and, as of late, contraception and the war on women. War on women. Really? Seriously? Seriously. Who is buying this so-called war on women? Thank God most women are not that stupid. And the funny thing is, on the flip, can you imagine the jokes? I mean, we'll think about like the war on Christmas. How often that is mocked, belittled, and everything else, despite the fact that there is actual evidence. I mean, too many examples for me to start. Actual evidence of an actual war on Christmas. What is this war on women? Because people with religious convictions don't want to pay for your contraception. They're at war with you. They're at war with women because you should be able to have sex and have somebody else pay for the birth control. And I was talking to somebody recently on Facebook, and she said, well, the man should be responsible, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. The man, like your man. Not everybody, not all men. Okay? Not a collective man. The man that you're having the sex with. Unless you're too weak, of course, to confront him. Oh, that's what it is, I think, isn't it? If there's a law, you have the support because you're not strong enough to, and you don't have enough self-respect to go to your man and talk to him responsibly like a rational adult. and ask him to contribute. Yeah, this picture is becoming a little clearer as I think about it. You know, it's like I mean that's got to be it. If not, please explain it to me. Now I'm digging myself a hole, aren't I? Because I know YouTube. YouTube, unfortunately, one only has to peruse the comments under most any video. It could be the most benign video, and you have the mob that I just spoke of. They're absolutely excoriating the person. Like I said, no matter how benign the video is, the dregs of humanity come to YouTube and leave the most disgusting, vile comments. And you know, and they've the minimal experience I've had with YouTube. Um, I've been the brunt of some of it, and I barely dipped my toe in the water on YouTube. I plan on getting more involved. It's a good medium. It's a good way to get messages out. It's a good means to fight the good fight, regardless of the loving liberals out there with the coexist bumper stickers who say only the most loving things, of course, you know, like words I can't repeat. I'm not going to use vile language. They're so full of love. I just feel the love every time I used to follow Andrew Breitbart, of course, when he was alive, and on Twitter, and read some of the loving comments you people used to leave. I just felt so much love. And Andrew retweeted that because when you are secure in yourself, you see that stuff for what it is. So if you're going to be one of the people who happen to watch this video, I don't think I'm going to get many viewers because I'm almost 20 minutes. And then I think that very few people will bother to watch, especially because I'm just going to call this video test. I mean, it could get into who knows. Media Matters has no lives, so who knows? I mean, what kind of little sycophants Soros has running around combing through YouTube for videos like this? I don't know. Nothing would surprise me because I mean that those poor people. You know what I do? I sincerely. I feel very bad for you. I do. Some of the comments I've seen directed towards me, I mean, it's as if these poor people, these poor delusional people think that they can hurt our feelings. It's like, you don't get it. When you're secure in yourself and you know that you're right, that's sort of the benefit of being a conservative is that security. Okay, we don't need to go. And I realize, oh, there's insecure conservatives. I get after them. In fact, I do. I will criticize an insecure conservative just as much as a liberal, and I can cite examples of this. Most notably, I watch my favorite show on Fox News is The Five. Well, it's tied with Red Eye, but Greg from Red Eye is on The Five. It's a great show, and they have a very brave liberal on there who I admire very much. I do. I love him. All right, I love the guy, Bob Beckel. I love him. He's an awesome guy. He is. He's a lovely man. He's a very sweetheart. He's very different. He's not your typical. When I don't like to paint all liberals with the same brush because people like Bob Beckel make me realize that. But the problem is that it's mostly guys his age and older. It's this generation, this younger generation that scares the crap out of me because they're just so irrational and so inhuman. And Bob Beckel calls them out because he's not that way. And it's too bad more liberals can't be like Bob Beckel because he's very liberal. You know, he gets crap from other liberals about not being a genuine liberal. And hello, he was Walter Mondale's campaign advisor. I mean, he's been around the block. He's got plenty of liberal credentials. But on the Five Facebook page, whenever there's been people criticizing Bob or saying nasty, I am right at their throat, because I will defend Bob Beckel's right to be wrong all day long. I mean, at least he's got class, he's got dignity, and he's brave. I mean, George Soros was invited onto the Glenn Beck program several times, and of course didn't have the stones to show up. That, you know, that's your typical. That's the liberals I can't stand. The ones that don't have that know they're wrong so much that don't dare to face somebody who's right. And those are the liberals I can't stand. At least Bob stands by his convictions, however misguided they may be. And by the way, sometimes I do agree. Okay, I don't know that you can say, well, then you're a liberal, or you have some liberal viewpoints even. I don't know. I mean, using these labels, liberal, conservative, is an obvious generation for the purposes of the easiest identification and the majority of one's ideology and ideas. I don't know. I mean, in areas of the environment, for example, I think sometimes I lean left. I don't like the idea of completely doing away with the EPA. And if any conservatives watch this, they'll be throwing things and writing me off. I'm sure some are like that, and that's irrational. And I would have just as much disrespect for somebody who would write me off for one position, a so-called conservative who would write me off for one position which I'm not, which I don't see eye to eye with them, as I would any liberal. Okay, that's irrational. We should be allowed to have opposite ideologies. There is such a melange, such a hodgepodge of contradictions in people's ideas, the things that they claim to be. Hey, I've been mocked before for wearing a hat, and I've been mocked before for wearing a hat in the few videos I posted and in pictures. I'm wearing a hat today, especially because I don't like the way my hair looks. So I'm wearing a hat. I like the way the hat looks better. But it's not cool, I know. It's not cool. But I hate that. There's this, some of the same people who claim to be, who like, fight against bullying and discrimination, and they're all about tolerance and all this, and anything goes, and they're fine with Lady Gaga, but they'd pick on me for wearing a Hershey hat. I'm getting off track, but I'm just making the point that there is this real assumption that people jump to in this country, like, well, this is cool and that's not, period. And this is real emperor's new clothes kind of mentality. People are just too afraid to say that he's naked. And that I'm talking about that attitude, that whole, like, well, if you don't see the clothes he's wearing, then, I mean, for those of you who don't know the Emperor's New Clothes story, if you don't see the clothes that he's wearing, then you're a fool. Oh, okay, I don't want anybody to think I'm a fool, so yeah, they're awesome clothes. If you don't say that X, Y, and Z, if you don't subscribe to these ideas, And it goes for either side, conservative, liberal. There's this thing, this ugly thing in society that, okay, you're conservative, okay, you have to fit in here. Oh, you're liberal, then you fit here. And both of them have to fit to be cool into these other things. Who dictates this? Who is weak enough to care about these rules? And I get people, I'm laughing inside at the people who I see in their eyes, like, with that smug look on their face, and I can see them sort of laughing at me sometimes. Things I say, maybe how I dress, whatever it is, because I don't follow societal dictations whatsoever. Whatsoever. I don't care. And people who do, to me, they look weak. I don't pick on them. I don't care to do that. To do that, to want to pick on someone for the way they dress, the way they look, the way they act, etc., going on, is weak. You're weak in here and in here to do that. You're insecure. There's no other explanation for it. That's insecurity. If you're secure, you don't need to do that. It's something that kind of bothers me when I watch Red Eye sometimes. Is they pick on each other's clothes. Oh, did you get that from Banana Republic? I'm going, what? Ew. That's just ugly. I think I've never seen anyone on that show dressed in a way. I mean, it's one thing. There's a difference between looking indecent or dirty and looking, fitting the mold of what's cool, or I don't know, because you shop at Banana Republic. I don't give a crap where you shopped. I don't care where you got your suit. If you look halfway decent, you look presentable, good. I'm not going to be checking your labels. It's so silly. People make me laugh. They really do. It's like, you know, that's my description for total foam. Just stuff that doesn't matter. Rolls off my back like spitting spitballs out of tank. It's like, people that give me that look. Oh, that look. I mean, it makes me laugh. But at the same time, I'm thinking, wow, I feel so sorry for you. You're pathetic. You think you're cool. You're assuming this cool thing. You put on this, I'm cool because I'm looking down at you right now. You're so uncool because you need to do that. You're pathetic and obviously insecure. Okay, I'm getting way off track. I'm going all over the place, I know, but this video is just a test. I want to keep it under 30 minutes. It's pushing 30 minutes. I have a lot more to say. If you happen to watch this video, oh, well, first of all, I would suggest that you find something more exciting to occupy your time. But if you did happen to watch this video and you were interested in what I have to say at all, then, watch for future videos. But right now, before this gets to 30 minutes I'm going to shut it off at exactly 30 minutes. I'm watching the timer go. So I just want to see if I can post this on YouTube. So let's see. I've got about 35 seconds to go. Yeah, I will be posting, obviously, my very conservative opinions. I'm going to my ultimate plan is to sort of pick up the mantle of Andrew Breitbart, talk a lot about politics, talk a lot about my faith, my Christian faith, and yeah, have a good day, y'all. Here goes. 2, 1, bye.